The 50 Podcast.
50 Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the 50 Podcast. Today we are here with 911 dispatcher Gaby. Gaby is a 911 dispatcher and a big social media personality, and she's over in Kansas City. So for our listeners who don't know who you are, if you want to give us a quick bio, and then after we'll peel back the layers, get a little deeper, and get to know you more. So if you want to just give us a quick little bio about you, you have the floor.
All right. So, my name is Gaby. I grew up in California, but moved to Kansas City. I'm still a student. I'm studying sociology. I have 5 sisters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but they're all in California. I just came here on a whim, but we'll get into that later. Nothing really much about me. I'm just like a girly girl, and that's all I can really say. I don't know. So I never say sorry to Spiels, but yeah, we will.
Yeah, okay, awesome. So we're going to go over your foundation and dispatch, how you got there, probably how you got to Kansas City from California, and we'll dive a little bit deeper. So everyone that comes on my podcast, I like to ask them about their family life, growing up, and how they kind of became a first responder, because I feel like everyone's story is like interesting and different, and I like to know what kind of got you here. So what was your family life and your just how you grew up? How was that?
It was good. I mean, I had 5 sisters. I grew up with 5 sisters, so I mean, you're always like taking care of somebody, and like I don't. I wouldn't say we fought a lot or anything. I just think we're very like family oriented, which later did help me in my career that I'm in now. But yeah, we just kind of like always looked after each other. My parents were got divorced when I was 9 years old, so we just like all us girls, like we just had each other. And then my mom got remarried, and like awesome man that she married, my stepdad. So yeah, I'm the second oldest, and so I felt like I mean, not exactly like I was always taking care of my sisters, but like I'm very like protective of them. Like I love them so much. So I mean, that's kind of like my family foundation. We're just like really, really supportive and really close to each other. But yeah, like I said, that helps me so much like now and what I'm in.
For sure. And did you have any family members that were first responders?
No, not at all. So my mom, she's in tax law, and then my dad, he's an entrepreneur. And so both of my families are just like nothing to do with like law enforcement, but they also like they weren't like trouble, like they never really had to like encounter like anything like having to do with like LEO or officers or cops or like anything like that. And so this is like completely like far off of what they're like used to.
And what brought you to Kansas City? Was it school?
No,
Yeah, that's pretty far.
yeah. So I was in college, and I feel like I was 21 years old. And I feel like at that time, like my mom and my dad were like paying for like my college, they were paying for my rent, they were paying for my groceries, like they were paying for everything. And I was just like, oh, I just had like this kind of like realization moment. And I was like, I don't want my parents to be, like, paying for my stuff my whole life. Like, I get it, I'm in college, but, like, I didn't have, like, a first job at that time or anything. And also at that time, like, I just felt like I didn't have, like, independence. Like, I always had to, like, listen to what my parents said, even though I was, like, living, like, far away, but they were, like, funding everything about, like, my life. And so I was like,
Yeah.
I need to learn how to be independent. I need to learn how to pay for my own stuff. Like, I don't wanna graduate and then, like, not know how to, like, take care of myself and, like, not have anything on my resume, stuff like that. And so I have aunts and uncles over here in Kansas City, but they're on the Kansas side. And they're also very, like, business people. And so I'm like, "Okay," like, from them like, I used to come here every summer, and I was like, "If I go over there to Kansas City, like, just for 3 months, like, just a semester, um, I was like, "Okay, like, I'll go over there and I'll learn how to be, like, more independent, more ambitious, like, get money and, like, stuff like that." I was like, "I'll change," because I feel like in college, everybody was focused on, like, boys and partying and alcohol and things like that, and I just didn't really, yeah, I didn't want that. And so, Yeah, I just had that little moment. I came here and I got a dispatch. I was working at Starbucks actually when I first got here. I was working at Starbucks. I think I was making like 13 an hour. And so that's not really like sustainable. So I was living with my aunt and then this dispatching job, but concrete dispatching job came up. And I was like, I don't know anything about concrete. I don't know anything about
Oh, wow,
dispatching.
yeah.
But it made enough money for me to, like, get my own place, and I was like, "Ooh, like, if I get this job and, like, if I commit to this job, then I could get my own place, and then I could be independent financially," and I was like, "Oh, that's kinda scary," so but I was like, "But this is what I came here for, like, to be independent and everything like that." So, I signed a contract, a one-year contract for my, like, lease for my condo, and then I bought a car, and so it just kinda, like, escalated with the whole, like, independence. But I worked there for a year. I did not like concrete dispatching. I'm so
I don't even know what that is. Like,
it's
what is concrete dispatching? Like construction dispatching or something? Yo, wow. I've never heard of that.
yeah, no, oh my goodness. I'll forever be grateful for that job, but oh
Yeah.
my god, it was like the most stressful job. And I think it's because so it's like the city job. So you work with like the city to do like the sidewalks and like
Okay.
driveways and stuff like that. And so I was in charge of a fleet of 30 guys. And
I was gonna say you were probably the only girl.
yeah, so I mean, no, actually, there was guys over there too, but it's just rough because, like, these guys are, like, men, like, they're, like, working on the streets and stuff like that, and, like, oh my gosh, like, some of them have attitude and some like, they're, like, they gotta be men, and I'm like, "Oh gosh." So, I didn't like it, I was, like, stressed, but, like, I mean, it was how I lived, like, how I, like, was able to pay my rent and my bills and everything like that. And then I had a friend, and she was like, "Hey, like, get into police dispatching, like, we're hiring." And I was like, "No, like, no, 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 no." That's, like,
Yeah.
shootings and killings and kids and, like, stuff like that. I was like, "There's no if I can't handle, like, concrete dispatching, I will not be able to handle, like, police dispatching." She's like, "Just try it, I promise, like, I love this job." I was like, "How do you love that job?" Like, I was like, "There's no way." But I was like, "No," I was, like, so desperate, like, that first job, as good as it was money-wise, it was just
Yeah.
draining, but, like, in a different way, and I came to the realization that, um, that job was more like I mean, you're making money like, you're making money for, like, every load that you sell of, like, concrete and things like that. It's just, like, more like
Oh, wow.
you're gaining money for that. But I feel like in police dispatching, we don't get money for every call that we, like, send out,
Right,
every person
right,
we call.
right.
Like it
Oh, wow. So it was kind of like a sales.
Yes.
So you. Wow, so interesting.
Yeah, so we would get, like, bonuses every year for, like, the concrete job, but I feel like we would, like people, I don't wanna talk bad about that job, good it was just, like, too much for me. But,
Yeah, and that's totally fine, and it led you to where you're at today. I'm sure you learned how to obviously dispatching to be on the calls, managing a lot of tasks and doing this, doing that, but sales and, like, commission is hard. So, at least my tip where you're at is better as far as the mentally. Because I mean, not mentally.
No, but I get you because I feel like here I feel more satisfied because I'm actually, like, helping a person that's, like, in distress or, like,
Right.
helping calm somebody down, and they're just like, "Are you making enough? Are you sending enough trucks? Or are you doing this? Are you doing that? Like, why aren't you sending this? Why aren't you" and it's just like, "Oh, like, this is just for money, but this is for, like, somebody's well-being," you know? And so
100%. And, um, so when you started, uh, police dispatching,
uh
how was that for you? Like, what was the training like when you first started? Were they did they consider you like a pro because 'cause you'd already been doing dispatching, or you, like, totally blindsided?
Um how do I answer that? I definitely would not consider myself a pro, at all. But I mean, I had like the experience of like you got to stay calm when like stressful situations come in. However, I don't think I've ever encountered like serious like somebody is injured or somebody's hurt or like you have to look out for the officers. Like it was more like sending trucks, sending trucks, sending trucks and like multitask and make decisions and stuff like that. But here it was like more emotional, like the safety of like somebody's whole entire life, you know? And so, it was good in that sense where I wouldn't, like, give up, but, like, I would keep going. But, it was definitely different as, like, the severity of a call and, like, what decision I make can, like be, like very extreme. I don't know, but I think I
How
definitely
long
have
was
a
the training?
oh gosh, I feel like I'm still in training. The training, it took
Same girl.
me
It never
well,
ends. The learning never stops.
yeah, it took me 6 months, but I feel like I wasn't ready by the time, like, I got out, but, like, you're never really ready, you know? But yeah, it took me 6 months officially to, like, be on my own, but, after that, I made, like, a huge mistake, and I was like, "I should have never gotten released," but it was fine, everybody makes mistakes. It's like
Yeah, it's hard. It's a lot of pressure. I have so much respect for dispatchers and I it's not that I didn't have respect for them before, but until like shit hit the fan at work and I really, really saw how they handled certain situations, my respect just like skyrocketed. And sometimes we don't realize how important like you guys are. You're just like the voice behind, the curtain. And we like forget that you're like real people, like seriously helping us. Um, but like obviously I am so appreciative of all you guys do, but it didn't, occur to me, like, when I was a new officer, like, how much work it was, and I do think that it's important for, like, officers to, like, maybe have a day or 2 where they sit with you guys and, like, watch what you do and how you do
yeah.
it and just, like, appreciate it because it is a lot of work.
Sometimes, yeah.
What is your favorite part of dispatching?
I think, like, once you're done with a call and, like, because we don't always know, like, what ends up happening, you know? And so, like, I think the most favorite thing for me is, like and it's so simple, and I'm sure you can relate, but it's, like, the thank you because you, like, never hear that really, and, like, sometimes you even forget, you don't even think like, "Oh my gosh, like, that person should be grateful for me." Like, no, we don't think that, and you don't I'm sure you don't think that. You're just like, "Ah, I'm glad they're okay, and I'm glad everything is okay." And then they're like, "Thank you so much." And I'm like, "Oh, wow." Like,
Yeah.
wow. Like, that's my favorite part of it, but also, like, the working together and, like, we wouldn't be able to do that, like, without you guys and, like, without, like, the teamwork in it because it's never ever really, like, one person doing it by themselves. It's, like, a team effort truly.
Yeah. And at this point, since you started in police dispatching, how long has it been for you in this career?
It's gonna be 2 years in February.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's
So
not
have
too
you
or
trained people yourself now?
like once, but out of, like, need. Not really like
Are you
they
guys as
asked me. Huh?
are you guys as understaffed as like we are on the police side too? Is it hard to
Yeah.
find dispatchers?
Yes. Yeah, it is. I mean, we get, like, a lot of, like, applicants, though, but it's just we learned that we can't. Cause when I got hired on no, I think before I got hired on, they were training people at the same time, and it's just like, you can't have every dispatcher with a trainee and then, like, also be, like, actively, like, helping the officers and, like, taking the phone calls and dispatching and, "Hey, could you call this agency?" Or, like, "Hey, could you do this?" and, "Hey, could you do that?" Like, it's just too much, and so they've learned, like, what we've done in our agency, which makes it slower, but I think it makes, like, a quality of work for the trainee is, get 1 trainee at a time, like, 1 trainee at a time, like, per shift or 1 trainee at a time per, like, time period, but, it's stressful for, like, the dispatcher to be like, "Oh, this is a perfect situation where you could learn from," but it's like like, you can't be, like, explaining, like, all throughout the way when it's, like, time effective. I don't know, like, you know?
I know what you mean. Yeah, it's like you
So,
can't be training them while you're doing
going
like
through, like, the high
you're
stress
you're
situation.
on the call. Yeah. It's like more like you probably have to just like watch and sit. You kind of
So
like
it's
be a sponge.
yeah. So, yeah, right now, it's a little bit difficult just because we're, like, training one at a time, but also, like, people quit while they're in training, so it's like we have to start the process all over again, and then it takes months, and then
Yeah.
they quit in the middle or they quit at the end, or they quit it's just, like, hard, like, to
Yeah.
find, like, a solid person, so, yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely. I can imagine. So, what's the best advice you would give to someone thinking of going into a career as a dispatcher?
I think the best advice, honestly, humility goes a long way. I would say humility. And also just like give yourself grace. Like, oh, there's so much I can say. Um, give yourself grace, be patient with yourself, and don't like I don't know, don't stress yourself out, like, don't because, like, at the end of the day, I feel like we think more of our mistakes than other people do, like, because everybody else is too worried about their mistakes, like, the
Yeah.
trainer is probably thinking, like, "Oh, I'm probably not, like, training this person, and they don't think I'm, like, good enough," and, like, the trainee's thinking, "Oh my gosh, I'm so slow, like, I'm not even, like, retaining this," and, like, blah, 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 like but I think, like, patience, humility, and just acceptance, like, I don't know, it just requires, like it teaches you so much, but I feel like when somebody's kind of like a know-it-all, like, gosh, that sounds so negative, but, like, when somebody's like, "Oh, I already knew that," or like, "No, no, no," like, I don't know, it's just kinda like, oh, like, you don't wanna teach them, you don't wanna help them, but, like, when they're like, "You know what? I know that you taught me this before, I'm sorry, like, I just forget or it's just too much information, could you teach me this again?" Like, and I do that all the time, and I'm like, "Oh, I should know," but it's better to, like, ask than, like, not to ask and figure it out and then, like, do something wrong, so just, like,
Yeah.
give yourself grace, like, just know that, like, we're all learning something every day, all the time, and, like, no matter how many times we do it, like, we're always gonna need, like, a refresher, but, like, give yourself so much grace and, like, do not think that you can't do it, because like, if you have the right team, like, you're gonna learn and they're gonna be patient with you, they're gonna wanna help you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, ask for help if you need it. Like, I feel like in our world, in, like, the first responding world, people are afraid to ask for help, or they wanna be, like, perfect, like, right away, and it's like, no, that's, like, literally impossible, like, you have to ask questions, you have to figure it out, and I'm sure that, like, daily, probably, you come across calls that you haven't done before. Yeah. I mean, people call 911 for the wildest things, like, for the stupidest things to the scariest, most dangerous things, but, like, some unimaginable things. So, sure, no day's the same on your end. It's not like you have that routine call all the time. It's, every day is something different.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Do you ever feel unappreciated as a dispatcher? And if you could
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Um, I yes, I do feel unappreciated sometimes, and it's not like we're, like, entitled to the, like, "You need to be grateful for me" type of thing, like, at all, but I think there's sometimes we're, like, trying our best, and then, like, there's a comment that's made or there's an action that's made that's kinda like, "Oh," like, I, like, put in my effort in that. Like, for example, I guess, like, um and they're, like, little things, but I think, like, just vaguely when, like, I'm making, like, a choice based off of, like, the cards that I have in front of me and, like, what's going on around me, um, I'm like, "Hey," like, I send this person to a call, and then, like, the sergeant, for example, is like, "Nah, disregard that call," or like, "Hey, dispatch, could you actually do this?" It's just like, "Why are you deciding to, like, dispatch for me? Like, we're busy," or like, "We're doing this, we're doing that." Like, "No, I cannot call that agency for you, like, you could do that." Like, I don't know, there's just, like, certain things where it's like, you don't know what's going on inside of dispatch, like, we're getting other calls and, like, all the lines are, like, slammed, and, like, I'm the only one like, I'm taking calls myself, but also, like, dispatching, so, no, I can't do this,
that
no, I can't do that, or like, when an officer decides to, like, send somebody else over to a call, but I'm like, "No, there's another pending call that I need to use him for, and that's why I decided" like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, like, a
right.
different situations.
Like, we don't know what's going on on your end, like, what you have lined up or balanced already. That makes so much sense. I can definitely see that. Yeah. Like, already planning, like, our next move, and I sit on it go and mess that up for you.
Yeah, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Sarge, like, oh, like, I already had this and now I have to figure out, like, a whole new plan, like, quickly," or, like but you never wanna be disrespectful on the radio, like, I know some people are bold, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like, I never," but, like and, like, "Actually, Sarge, I was gonna send it to the" like, I don't know, like, it's already, like, a stressful situation, you don't wanna add to that, and then, like, they're gonna be sassy like, it's just, like, if you're not helping each other out, like, it's just not gonna work, you know?
Yeah.
And so, I'd rather, like, reduce that as much as possible.
What about from, like, the officers? Do you feel not appreciated by them too?
Sometimes okay, for me, It's hardly ever. I would say there's, like, 2 that I've ever felt, like, actively unappreciated by.
Oh, okay, that's good, I guess. It's only
Yeah,
2.
but yeah, but in a general sense, not really. I think they're all grateful, and I think, like, we've all, I mean, trauma bonded and, like, okay, like, let me cut them some slack or, like, or, like, I can never dispatch that, like, type of thing, and, like, I could never be on the field, like, I will always respect officers because I could not be on the field, like, that's tough because you guys are actually, like, we're just hearing it, but you guys are actually, like, physically watching and seeing and interacting and everything like that. Like, once you guys are on scene, like, we're, like, hands off and we're just on the CAD. But, like, you guys are, like, actively on there, and I'm just like, "Oh, like, I could not do that." And then, like, having to update, like, dispatch, I can imagine where it's like, you guys wanna just, like, do, 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 and we're just like, I don't know. So I could understand that, you know? So I cannot do that. But
It was gonna be one of my questions actually for you that I didn't have on here, but I know some dispatchers become officers. So one of my
yeah.
questions for you was if you wanted to become a police officer.
I've thought about it. Me and my friends, like my coworkers, we all kind of talked about it before, like, oh, like we should be officers. But like, uh there's this one like girl officer and she's like a girly girl. I love her so much. And but she's like a boss girl. And so she inspires me a lot because I'm like, I'm always like my excuse is like, no, I'm a girly girl, like I can't do it. But like she's a girly girl too, but she's like a boss girl. Like she's such a good officer. And so I'm like, oh, so things like that inspire me, but yeah, I've thought of it, but I don't
You
know.
definitely have like a leg up. Like one of my partners that I work with on my squad, he was a dispatcher for a while and now he's an officer and I feel like he's so knowledgeable because he has both ends. Like,
Yeah.
he knows like it's like he knows the back end of the system. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do
For
think it
sure.
gives you an advantage. So if you ever think about it.
Yeah, no, I've thought of it, so I don't know, we'll see.
So let's talk about your social media, how I found you. You're pretty popular on social media, girl. You are out there, you have a lot of followers, your videos get a ton of views because I do, again, feel like people are so curious about like our lives and first responders and like what actually goes down, right?
Mhm.
So tell us how you decided to put yourself out there on social media.
Honestly, it was a boring shift one night. It was Sunday night, and I believe it was Sunday night, but it was like a boring night shift one time. And there was, like, not much going on, and I was like, "Whoa, like, this is so boring, I'm gonna fall asleep." Like, I don't know, it's, like, not much going on at all, you know? And so, I remember I was like, "Oh, what do I do?" And so, I just started recording random things, like my keyboard, my headset, my coworker, like our coffee machine, like literally the most random stuff. And I just captioned it, work a 911 shift with me. But it wasn't even like really like it wasn't the calls, it was just literally just recording the items, like just things. And I put like a silly little song at the end. The video was probably like 10 seconds, like it wasn't long at all. And I
Yeah.
just posted it, and I was like, "Nobody's gonna see this, like, it's late at night, like, nobody's" and then it got I remember it got 7,000 views, and I was like, "Oh, what?" Like, and my videos were only, like and this was not, like, a dispatching, like, video app I mean, a dispatching account at all. It was just my own personal.
Right.
And so I posted that and my videos were averaging like 100 views, but this one got like 7,000 like super quickly. And I was like, "Oh, whoa." I was like, "People really like this." I didn't even post anything. It was just like the items. So I started making like little memes. And it was just like there's so much that I could post about like dispatching and I was like, let me just like do this like for fun or whatever. And so I started doing it and then like shortly, I think it took like 3 months to get 10,000 on TikTok. Yeah, it took like 3 months to get 10,000 followers on TikTok. I was like, "Whoa, like this is pretty cool. Like people like
Yeah.
this." And I'm like there's more people that like that are like me that like I just wanted like I guess like a sense of community like I'm not alone in doing this, whether it's like the successes, the accomplishments, or like the failures and the sadness and the disappointment. And I'm like, I'm not alone in this. And I feel like this community has like helped me so much in like
Mhm.
whenever it's like hard. So that's kind of how I started with like TikTok.
Yeah, you have a huge following, and I think it's really cool because I actually love what you titled that, like, "Work a 911 shift with me," because people are curious. Like, even me as an officer, like, I'm curious. Like, nobody knows what you guys do except you guys because you are in your own, like, little dispatcher world.
More secluded.
Yeah. So it is really, like, interesting. So when you finally got your, like, thousands of followers and stuff, did you have any pushback in the industry, like, from your agency or anything? Because I mean, I've been there, and I know a lot of other people have been there. How do they feel about it?
So, with that first video, I remember I was like, "Oh, shoot, like, maybe I shouldn't have posted this." And so I was really close with, like, my, HR, lady, and so I asked her, I was like, "Hey," like she started following my page. I told her first, I was like, "Hey, like, I don't wanna get in trouble for, like, my videos or anything, like, is there anything, like, that I can and cannot post, or should I just not post at all? Like, what do you think? Because I don't wanna get fired, I don't wanna get in trouble." Like, she's like, "No, no, no, like, I'll follow your TikTok," and so she's like, "I'll follow your TikTok and I'll monitor everything, and if anything's, like, out of compliance, then I'll let you know, but everything seems good, like, just don't post anything of the cat, don't post anybody's name, don't post license plates, like, don't post, like, our Regis system, don't post, like, anything like that." Right. She's like, "And, like, the screens, like, just make sure you, like, cover them up if you need to, like, things like that." And she's like, "If anybody doesn't wanna be recorded," like, she just kinda, like, mentored me through that, but she was just like, "No, but it's fine with me." And I have, like, some, sergeants following me and, well, he used to be my sergeant, now he's an admin, but, like, and my officers, like, they follow me, they're very supportive. My coworkers know about they all know about it, and so they're very supportive, and so if they don't wanna be in a video or if they don't want me to be recording or anything like that, like, I won't. But I try not to, like, record their voices, and if I do, then I'm like, "Hey, like, does this bother you?" They're like, "No, that's fine." But, like, they kinda just, like, know, and it's cute because my birthday was just a few weeks ago, and, my coworkers 2 of my coworkers, they got me, like, cute little things, like, for dispatching, like, one of them got me a microphone, and one of them got me, like, a little tripod, like, a moving tripod, like, to support me with my dis
Good.
so they're really sweet, they're really, really nice and
I
supportive.
love that, and I love that for you because, um, not every agency is like that, and I think that that's so cool because I personally think that social media is a vehicle, like, people are gonna see you, like, this cute, fun girl on social media, and they're like, "You wanna be a dispatcher," you know? And it's not, like, all on there on social media being a dispatcher, so you've probably
Mhm.
inspired a lot of girls to do it, and like you said, city that you guys are building, and I think it's awesome. Like,
Thank
I
you.
think it's really cool that, your agency's good with it. Like, that's a pretty awesome sign because not every agent would be.
Yeah, and I know I get a lot of pushback from people, though, like, Um, people will like, especially with, like, the work a shift with me, they'll comment and they're like, "Why are you even recording this at all?" Or like, "This is, like, out of this shouldn't you be fired?" Or like, stuff like that, but, like, I try to, like, explain, like, in a very nice way, like, "Oh, I talked to my HR, they're okay with it," and, like, blah, blah, but, like, people decide, like, either they haven't seen it, or, like, they don't believe it, or they choose not to, like, and obviously in the comments, they don't know who's my sergeant and who works with me, who doesn't, but, like, it's like people are, like, constantly watching me, and, like, there's actually been, like, an ex-coworker that I had, they, tried to get me fired because of my videos, and I'm just like, "What?" So, it's just, like, weird, like, things like that, like, I don't know.
There's haters everywhere, girl. People get jealous. People get really jealous when you have success.
Yes.
You know, like, and you're successful and your content is fun and it's funny and it's goofy and I love that it's like lighthearted in a area where it's really not a lighthearted job, and I love that you make it fun and lighthearted because again, it's could be a pretty dark job in a dark place.
If you choose to see it that way, yeah, it's easy for it to be like that, so
Yeah. Well, I love your social media and I think it's awesome.
thank you.
So, have you ever had an officer in serious danger and you've been on the other end of the radio and how did you handle that situation?
Ooh,
We ain't saying names or anything like that, so just generally.
yes. So there was this. incident, I don't remember exactly how it happened, I just remember, like, the bigger parts of it, but, I remember there was, like, this suspicious party, and all I remember is, like, they were trying to, like, talk to him, like, "Hey, what's going on? Like, what are you doing out here, like, in the dark?" Like, I mean, I worked the night shift, so, like, it was late, and so one of the officers, like, tried to, like, I don't know if we got a call, like, a suspicious person call or, like, he saw that person or whatever, but basically, he, like, saw them. Also, like, here, they're stealing I mean, around everywhere, I guess. They're stealing a lot of, like, Kias and Hyundais.
Yes.
So mhm. And so I don't know if it was something, like, to do with that, but, like, they were just asking, like, "Hey, like, what's going on with you?" Whatever. And they pulled out a knife. And so they were like, "Hey, like, we need backup." And so they took, like they sent, obviously, like, other officers went to that location, and they started chasing down, like, the dude. It was, like, 2 of our girl officers and 2 of our guy officers. 2 of them were running on foot trying to get that person, and then one of them was in the car, and another one was, like, running on foot. So they were all, like, running on foot,
And you're probably trying to grab everyone's location.
and I was oh my gosh, I was, like, so worried, and so I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, what's gonna happen? Are they gonna get shot or, like, is anybody gonna get, like, stabbed or, like, are they gonna shoot him?" Like, I was so worried because all I could hear is, like, the emergency button, and then everybody's, like you could hear them running, but, like, talking, and all I
Okay.
hear is, like, the knife, and then, like, obviously, they're not gonna be able to, like, keep you updated on everything, and we can't see, like, their personal camera. Like, you could just go based off what you're hearing, and you don't wanna be like, "Hey, like, are you okay? What's going on? Like, give me details." Like, no, like, you need to let them do what they gotta do because you don't wanna stress them out more. And, I'm sure, like, they're gonna tell you as soon as, like, they can, you know? And so I was just like, "Oh my god." And so they're like, we like, they tasered the person. Like, that's all they
Mhm.
did. They just, like, tasered him. They didn't shoot him or anything like that. And then they finally got him on the ground and everything like that. And so I'm like, "Oh my gosh." But, like, that was really scary for me because 'cause I'm like, "Oh my gosh." Like, all I knew is that they had a knife. They had to everybody was, like, pursuing on foot except for, like, a car. And then it was pretty cool though. Kinda like once they explained they came into dispatch, which I always appreciate, like, they kinda tell me, like, how
Oh,
everything went
that's nice.
down. Mhm, not
Yeah.
always, they don't always do that, but when they do, I'm like, "Oh my gosh." But, yeah, I haven't gone through, like, a shooting or anything yet.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll come, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's gonna be wild,
It's
but you'll be
scary.
ready. You'll be ready.
Yeah.
So how do you stay calm when 911 calls get stressful? Because I find it so wild that you guys keep your I guess I do it too, I don't even realize, but,
Oh, yeah.
people will be screaming on the other end of, like, these 911 calls, and you'll see, like, on TV or, like, movies, and they'll just be like,
Yeah.
"Okay, what's your location?" And they're like, "I'm dying," and the other person and the dispatcher's like, "Okay, please tell me your address." It's like, how do
Mhm.
you keep that calm? Is it part of your training? Is it natural? Like, how do you just stay calm?
Um, oh gosh, I don't even know, honestly. I feel like your primary like, I think it's just, like, ingrained in our head, like, you cannot help somebody if you're not okay. And, like, if
Yeah,
they sense any fear in you, like, the whole thing is, like, blown over. So it's just like,
that's good
you
advice. Yeah,
I don't know. So it's just like, I feel like when you answer the call and you feel like you're in distress, it's like, it's all up to you, and you just, like, immediately take that role, I feel. And so, I feel like it's just a switch that happens because instead like, I mean, I feel like people in, like, everyday life, like, you're used to, when somebody's freaking out, you freak out. Like, it's just, like, an instinctual
right,
thing. But,
right.
I think in dispatching and, like, in your job, like, you just learn, like, it's instinctual to be a protector, to be, like, a caretaker, to be a nurturer, and it definitely
Mhm.
takes practice to get up to that point, but, like, I feel like now it's just, like, somebody freaks out, you take the lead. Like, it's just kinda like that,
Right.
it's just like that signal, but, I don't know, I think it's just you just get used to it, but in the beginning, no, I was just, like, when I was first taking the calls, I was like, "Booking my tree."
Yeah,
It's just, like, a lot of that, but,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
chemistry,
And
like
and not to, talk I don't downplay 911 calls, but sometimes when people call 911, in my experience, sometimes they've made it seem more dramatic than it actually is, like, in order to get the officers there quicker or just maybe
Mhm.
their own personal feelings with it, than the reality.
No,
That
100%. There's so many calls where I felt, like, so dumb because I'm like, "Hey, like, can I show you a route?" Like, what is the word? But you just kinda tell them to, like, hustle it up because it's, like,
yeah,
a dire situation. I'm like, "There's a gun involved," or "There's, like, this involved," or,
right,
you know, because that's what they're telling you, so you're just, like, relaying it, and then once
right.
the officer gets there, they're like, "Hey, could you just note on the CAD that there was no gun involved, there is no knife, there's," and I'm just like, "Oh my god, like, this person, seriously?" Like,
So many times we'll get dispatched to calls that have like the craziest descriptions, and we get there and it's like nothing. But at the same time, on your end, any little thing that could be potentially dangerous, you have to note for us because it could be that reality, you know?
yeah, yeah,
But like, yeah, your end, you have to like tell us every little thing that could possibly, happen when we
yeah.
get there. But it is interesting how they'll be like, "There's 20 people outside with guns," and it's like, "What? No, there's
Yes.
not."
Ones I feel bad about, it's, like, right before shift is gonna end and there's, like, shift change, but then there's that person that calls and it's like, "Oh my gosh, like, this person is, like, they're slapping at somebody," or, like, they're, like, fighting and, like, this person's about to die, like, something crazy,
Uh-huh.
and then we're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, but, like, this is, like, so important, it cannot wait for the next shift." So I, like, send somebody over and it's nothing like that, like, "I'm sorry I had to send you all the way over there, now you have to go back," and, like, it's just, like, keeps them longer, but it's like, ugh.
And it's fine. Um,
Yeah.
or a parent who has, like, a kid who just got their first cell phone, for instance,
Oh.
and they wanna teach them how to call 911 in case of emergencies. What would be, like, the top 3 thing for, like, a mom to teach their kid for the kid to tell the dispatcher if they're in trouble? Like, what's some advice that you would have?
For, like, the kid to tell
Yeah,
the
like,
dispatcher if there is an
if
emergency?
I'm a mom trying to tell my kid, "Okay, if you're in trouble, you call 911," what's some good advice I could tell the kid to tell you on the other end of the line?
First, have the kid learn their address, like so just have the kid learn their address, and then first thing to say is, "I am home, this is my address." Because what if they're not home? Like, "I'm at the store, this is my address." Like, no, that's not gonna work, but, like, "I am home, this is my address," and then that would be good, and then just say, "Where is there, what is it, weapons involved? Like,
Mm,
is somebody hurt? Can you get out?" Like, but I would say, mostly, like, the address, and then teach the kid not to hang up the phone until the police arrive, and then,
good.
yeah, and then, like, once the officer's there, like, they'll tell me, like, "Hey, we're," I mean, obviously, the officer's gonna tell you, but just, like, keep the kid on the line, and then, "Is mommy or daddy here?" Like, just those, but I think I would just say, like, that, like, learn your address, don't hang up the phone, and then just talk, like, I mean, obviously, it's our job to, like, talk to the kid and let them know, reassure them and everything, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it's really important to know your address, and I try to teach kids that too. I'm currently teaching my stepson that. He's like every day he's
Aw.
asking for like a plushie toy, and I'm like, "Okay, well, when you memorize your address, you will get one, and then next we're gonna learn the cell phone." Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
awesome advice because a lot of kids don't know what to say when they call 911
Yeah, no, yeah.
or
I
just,
mean,
"Oh,
I
they're
can
at."
ping it, but it's
Yeah.
just, like, easier if they just, like, know, like, where they are, let us know what's going on. "Okay, can I talk to mommy on the phone?" And they're like, "No, she's I don't know where she's at," or, like, I don't know, like, things like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, where do you see your career going from here?
ooh, honestly, 'cause I mean, I feel like there's not much to, like, go up from. I mean, you just become a supervisor and that's it, but I think, like, mixing dispatch along with social media, and I've talked to, like, some other first responder, like, content creators, and I think I just wanna raise more awareness to, like, the equipment that we don't have or, like,
Mm,
outdated sources and things like that, or, like, more because I know, like, there's some dispatch centers that don't have, like, a good enough pay or, like, they don't have, like, a support system or, like, um, therapy is really expensive or like meds are really expensive. And so like we don't have like everything like planned out yet, but we just talk about like the awareness part of it and like starting a nonprofit and like helping these people that need these resources. Like there's some people that like need these medications like anxiety and like there's some things that like they get these things because of this job, but, like, they love the job, and so I mean, obviously, if it's affecting you so bad, like, don't work at this job, but, yeah, I that's where I kinda wanna go with it, it's just, like, so many people DM me about, like, what I do, like, I'm so stressed out and, like, I can't, like I feel so dumb and, like, oh, like, they're so hard on themselves, and so I see, like, there's there is a team and there is, like, resources, but some people just don't have the budget for it or they don't have access to it, and so, like, I think just, like, that or, like, if you lose, like, your best friend, like, on the fields, because like, officers get close to each other and then, like, somebody like, things like that happen,
Yeah.
and there's not resources for them, and they just have to keep going, or, like,
Yeah.
calls that affect them long term, like, things like that, and so that's where I wanna go ultimately when it comes to, like, my page and with my job.
That's awesome. I love that. It's like using it for good. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Um, do you have any final takeaways for our listeners? If anyone is like, thinking of becoming a dispatcher or maybe like you, like really just wanting to be independent in life and they don't know where to go next. What advice would you have to any of our listeners listening?
I would say whatever it is in life, it's better to know than to not know. Like, just do it. Like, just do it. Like, I mean, moving away from like college and coming here, like, I didn't really have a plan. All I know is like what I wanted to do. And then, like, police dispatching found me. I was scared of it. I was so scared. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And that's okay. Cause, like,
Yeah.
just like dispatching or police or whatever it is in life, like, it's better to, like imagine if I would've just, like, let my fear take over and, like, I would have never become, like, a dispatcher, and I would have been, like stayed in a job that I was, like, unhappy at, and, like but, like, now I've met, like, such amazing people and got, like, amazing opportunities, and, like, I don't know, like, it's just, like, proven to myself, like, "Whoa, like, you are strong," like, I don't know, and so it's just, like, I think I would regret more never doing this than I would, like, staying in my comfort zone. And so and dispatching is not for everybody. It really isn't. And so if you don't like if you are like or in the like police force or whatever it is, correctional officer, everything like that, it's not for everybody. And just because you can't do it doesn't mean that you're not a strong person or that anything like that. I think like everybody has their own strengths, but like just try it. Like just try it. If this is something that you want to pursue, like don't let the fear like scare you off because when you have like the right team and the right heart for it, like you'll follow through, and, like, it doesn't always work out, but, like, that's okay too, but
Yeah.
I would just
So
say just do
eh,
it.
yeah, do it. Why not? And you learn so much, I'm sure, as a dispatching. Like all around, like the things that you learn is just like valuable stuff for life.
Yeah.
Where can our listeners find you online?
Oh, everywhere, 911, it's Gaby, Gaby. Everybody spells it with a double B or, like, BBY or BBI, but yeah, 911,
I
it's Gaby. Yeah,
Awesome.
TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram.
Well, I can't wait to watch all the things that you do. Again, I love your social media. I love your
Thank you.
videos. And I love that like you're a young, fun, like cute girl on this like wild field, like it's so cool. And I love that you show that side to this profession and this career. And I can't wait to continue watching what you're doing. And I'm so thankful that you came on today.
Thank you, well, thank you for asking me, I had a lot of fun, I've been really excited for this, so I
It's
appreciate
so
you
fun.
asking me.
I loved learning more about you. So thank you so much, Gabby.
Yeah,
And
no
say
problem. Thank you too. You're out on the field, so thank you for what you do, because I could not. Maybe in the future, but, like, for now,
you
shoot.
if you decide to make the move, call me and I'll help you. I got you.
Thank you.
All right, girl.